Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the weekly Nintendo News Roundup live each and every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. The All-In crew breaks down the week in Nintendo news. Good to see you, my friend. What's up, Eric? Good to see you.
You too. It's been a week, but here we are at the end of it. You and I both made it. Clear. I'm still here. I feel like I'm still here.
Most of
you
my
still
pieces.
Here?
Yep. Most of my pieces are attached.
Awesome. Yep. Yes, we are still in what appears to be one piece, as we hope all of you are this lovely Friday, September the 22nd of the year of our Lord, 2023.
Does that make it officially fall? September 22nd? Isn't that the first day of fall?
I think that's actually the solstice. Yeah, I think we have officially entered into the fall season. I can smell pumpkin spice off in the distance.
That sounds good to me. I'm into that. Well, you know what else I'm into, Eric? Is our patrons.
Yes, I'm into them as well.
Well, we of course start our shows.
But it sounds weird when I say it.
It does sound a little weird. It's okay though. We're gonna roll with it. We start our shows by thanking our wonderful patrons at patreon.com/allinpodcast. A bunch of friends and supporters making the dream come true over there. Huge shout outs to our golden banana tier supporters like Rob Yapel, Third Strongest Mole, Sean O'Baggins, Ashton, Tim A, aka NeoPrime33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Matt, Shy Guy City Murray, Phelan Ward, Bill Tucker, Marcus O'Neill, Liam D, Bowza, Gamer Jason, Andrew Wilkins, Foolish Fuji, and brand new Golden Banana Tier supporter Alan, #Look to the Cookie, which I believe is a Seinfeld reference, which I respect. If that's what you're going for there, Alan, let me know.
Yeah, but brand new patron, that is the power of the free trial.
That's right. There's a 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana Tier, so you can jump in for free, see what all the fuss is about, and decide if you want to stick around or not. Alan, we are very glad you decided to stick around. So welcome on in, my friend. And the Seinfeld reference gets the seal of approval from me. But moving into our Triforce tier, we need to thank Josh Vaughn, the godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday, John Datfast Cummins of the Retro Logic podcast, as well as the On Topic Retro podcast, the Globetrotting Jet Setting Nintendo Hub and Sparky of the Nintendo Hub here on YouTube, Adam Caparello from the Retro Groove podcast, Shy Guy, the other half of our Shy Guy mod squad, thank you Shy Guy, Daniel Inahosa, Dan and Luma, Solo Something, and the legend himself.
The person I'm really into. So much so that it would make me want to sing like Haley Williams. I'm into you.
Nice.
Uncle Randy.
Uncle Randy. Big shout outs to our patrons. We appreciate you. A ton of exclusive content we do every single week there for our patrons, as well as give you the shout outs again. 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana Tier. Check it out for yourself. You can also pick up some merch if you want to support the show at bit.ly/allinmerch. Get yourself a shirt or a mug or a sticker. That's very appreciated. And if you're listening on the audio feeds, you can drop us a 5-star review, which is also a very great and free and easy way to help us out and get our show in front of the people that need to see it. Shout outs to Chloe G here in the chat. Chloe G says, yay, now Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas will be on the way in a few months, and I'm excited. Also, hello. Hi, Chloe G. Yeah. Good time of the year.
Hello.
Also, hello. But Eric, without any further ado, let's talk about some news, my friend. What do you say?
Yes. A weird week for Nintendo news, but obviously a lot of stuff worth talking about. So let us do what we do every Friday. Not try to take over the world. We are not pink in the brain, but let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, my friend. We have actually a fairly big update that came in just earlier today about the Unity situation that I wanted to make sure that we briefly touched on. Now, we got much more in depth on it last week on our weekly Nintendo podcast. Links to that are in the episode description always. So if you want to hear us kind of break down that situation fully, there is that. But for anybody who has been following the Unity situation, there has been a pretty substantial update.
Yeah. Frankly, I was a little surprised that it took this long, but I'd like to think it was just because Unity was very carefully choosing their words and choosing the way forward. However, we did get a new Unity blog post, and it wasn't just from some social media representative from the company. It came from the man himself.
Yeah, from Mark Witten, the lead on Unity Create, which includes the Unity engine and editor teams. First of all, began the statement by issuing an apology. I won't read the entire statement. It's on the Unity blog if you want to read it, but the gist of it
Hmm.
is this. They have rolled back the Unity runtime fee thing, specifically mostly for the Unity personal plan, which
Yes, for the
was,
personal plan, yes.
yeah, which was the big one, the one that was kind of the most affected for like small development teams, or like especially like solo devs who are like starting on Unity
Yep.
and stuff. So they are not only like the plan itself is going to remain free, and there will be no runtime fee for games built on Unity Personal. So that's very good too, and they're going to be increasing the cap from $100,000 to $200,000 in terms of like how much you can make on like a personal plan. And they're also removing the requirement to use the Made with Unity splash screen, which was also a requirement for a long time. They also are offering a kind of like frankly something that should have been in place from the beginning, which is if you're using an older version of Unity before the rollout happens next year, the games made with that older version of Unity will not be applicable to the runtime fee, which that seems like a basic thing that should have been included in the first place, but here it is. They're also saying that the data that they're going to be charging from the runtime fee is self-reported data. So
Yes.
rather than it being like install based, or like whatever weird algorithm they were saying that they had access to, these numbers are going to be self-reported numbers. So that, I think, is attempting at least to be a little bit of an olive branch of trust to their customers, of like, hey, we're trusting you to accurately self-report your numbers. So that's something. Um,
Yes.
you have the option of going that route or giving them a 2.5%
Yep.
revenue share.
Yeah.
So they
The
they
option
they
of one or the other.
right.
Um,
Now, it's not perfect. It's not it still has issues. Um the I think the biggest thing is for the pro and like enterprise plans, you do still have to pay to use the engine on top of whatever fee, regardless of what you choose, whether you choose the flat 2.5% fee, whether you choose the self-reported install based fee, you do still have to pay that fee on top of paying for the use of the engine if you're doing anything above personal. So, like, bottom line, creators are still going to have to wind up paying Unity more money, but this is much, much more reasonable than what they had in place.
I really like a lot of the things they put in here, but in my opinion, far and away the most important language isn't represented here. And there was more details given. And correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't personally see the language in there that would prevent Unity from basically backtracking on all
Nope.
of these at a later date if they so chose, because that was. And again, go back and listen to our full discussion on this. In my mind, that was the biggest issue. Is this was a breach of trust. This was completely altering the deal, completely removing the creators from the communication. And here they are, sure, they're making some changes, but they are not remotely bound to those changes for any length of time. They won't, but they could just as easily next week and come out and say, yeah, by the way, we don't like that, so we're completely changing everything again. The language that needs to come in is something to the effect of, here is what's going on, and for future reference, we are including language within our terms of service or within the contracts that we enter into with creators to prevent us from just changing the rules in the middle of the game.
Yes. If I'm playing devil's advocate here, which is not something that I like to do in this situation, and there are other things that have come out about Unity even beyond this that make it kind of a hard thing to support in general. But the thing about that is like they have baked in this thing now, like in writing. If you use the I think it's called the LTS version of Unity that's
Mm-hmm.
coming out in January of next year, if you use like the older versions of the engine, then you will never be impacted by any of these changes. And but they don't, yeah, there's no language in there that says like, hey, we couldn't just go ahead and up that fee even further or change the things again. That's sort of the unfortunate situation that they've put themselves in, because now that trust is gone.
Exactly.
And I've seen a lot of sort of developers saying like, like, okay, cool, I now at least feel comfortable to finish like the project I was working on in Unity, but I'm still going to migrate to another platform. And I think they're going to see a lot of that. But
Yep.
it is at least not like the world-ending sort of garbage fire that it was this time last week. Um, I'll also say that, like, when it comes to stuff like that, like, any contract has the potential to change. I mean, it's like Netflix. Like, when I first started paying for Netflix, I was paying like $7.99. Now I'm paying like $20 a month, right?
Yeah, but typically when you have a contract, the the parameters and the situations behind the circumstances where it could change are at least readily understood.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and it's like it. I think it's they should have. In other words, they should have opened with this. This should have been the deal that they opened with. And then I don't think a single person would have. I mean, maybe some outliers, but I don't think many people would have had taken much issue with this, because I was actually there's a really good our friend Rami Ismail was
Hmm.
on he's been very vocal about this entire thing and works
Oh
in game
yes.
consultancy and stuff, but he was on the Play Watch Listen podcast, and I recommend y'all check out the episode he was on, where he really went in depth about this. And he was like, and Mike Bithell, who is another prolific independent game developer, is one of the hosts of that show too, and they were both like, "Yo, like, we're not opposed to Unity making more money. They should make more money. They are far and away the most popular and well used game engine." Because it's one thing to talk about independent game development on things like Steam or the Nintendo Switch. That's not even including mobile games,
Oh
where
yeah.
Unity is also far and away the largest, I mean, it's not even, there's not even a second place. So like they do deserve to make more money off of their product, but they came in with such a ridiculous, like, new set of terms. Like, if they had opened with this, then I think it would have been much more reasonable. And I think that's the reaction you're seeing from independent developers is, okay, this is at least reasonable, you know? So I'm glad to see this. We were frankly expecting there to be some sort of rollback like this, and I think that this is at least a tepid. I think the waters have calmed at least a little.
Yeah.
So
Again, this is still fairly recent, a fairly recent development. There hasn't been a lot of time for us to see a lot of the fallout from other independent developers and other personalities this is going to much more deeply affect. And I will be very interested over the course of the weekend to see their response, because they have a much deeper understanding, obviously, of what this is going to mean for them and for other creators who have games made in Unity. So they have a lot more skin in the game and a
of
lot
course,
more, a lot closer perspective on the situation. So I'll be very interested to see the perspective of those people over the course of the weekend and what they feel about this, and what they kind of, what their thought process is on Unity moving forward. But I will concede, very, very much a step in the right direction.
yeah,
I hope it continues, and I hope communication between Unity and its creators continues. And I hope this has at least shown them they need to have very open, and to their credit, they had an I think they said a fireside chat or
yeah,
something
yep,
earlier on today, which I do think is a good start. I think that is a very good, olive branch and something to move forward. Again, language that I would definitely like to see still isn't in there yet, but yes, step in the right direction.
yeah. It is. It's a step in the right direction. So I'm hopeful that things can kind of proceed forward, and they can attempt to build back a lot of the trust that they've lost. But we'll see. I mean, but in short of like actually just full scale rolling everything back the way it was, this is pretty much the best case scenario, in many ways. So so I'm happy to open up our show tonight with a little bit of good news. But Eric, we also had Tokyo Game Show, which is still ongoing technically.
Yes.
I think it's got another day or two left in it. I think it goes on through the weekend, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. So there's a chance that there might be some other Nintendo Switch headlines coming out of it. If there are, we'll hit it next week on the show. But there were a few things that cropped up. I've been kind of watching this closely, and there's not been a ton of stuff, but there have been a couple of interesting little headlines.
Oh, yes. There have been a couple of very interesting headlines. One that I know you're very interested in, being an Ace Attorney fan.
Yeah. Yeah, the Capcom had a little presentation where they announced that Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, the previously announced collection of Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6, is coming on January 25th, launching worldwide. So I'm very excited for that. Coming soon. Y'all should all play those. They're great. And great to finally have those games kind of preserved, because two of them were 3DS eShop exclusives that were lost
Yeah.
after the closure. So
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Yeah. Capcom just continuing this trend of taking their DS and 3DS games and remastering from the Switch. You got Ghost Trick. Here's your second Ace Attorney collection. I don't hate it.
Keep it
I
coming.
do not hate it.
Yep, keep them coming.
Here
We
comes
also
Star
got
Force.
yeah, that'd be great. I wouldn't be shocked to see that either.
Me either.
We also got news that Kuro no Kiseki is finally being localized. That's the Legend of Heroes series. It's being localized as The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. It's been out in Japan for many years now. I think it came out in like 2021 in Japan, and Trails fans have been wanting this to be localized for forever. Well, it finally is, and it's coming next summer. So if you're a Trails fan, Legend of Heroes fan, please be excited.
Yeah.
I'm not, but more power to you. I've just never played them. It's too intimidating.
Fair enough. I mean, there's so many of them. There's just,
Yeah.
I mean, there's what, like 6,800 of them
There's
at
a
this
lot.
point?
Yeah, there's a lot. And I know that they've like kind of rebooted, and there's like a couple of different eras that you can check out, you know, like
It's its own multiverse at this point, and
there's a lot going on. I just, you know, I can only be a fan of so many franchises, man.
tell me about it. But this, man, a game that I haven't thought about in a very long time. We got a new Azuna Legend of the Unemployed Ninja game coming to the Nintendo Switch. That unlocked a memory deep in the recesses of my brain that I completely forgot was there. I played it a little bit back when it was it a DS or 3DS.
It's a
It was
DS
just
game.
a DS game, yeah. But man, that was a game that I haven't heard about in a long time. But here we have a sequel announced forthcoming for the Nintendo Switch. Cool.
Yeah, it's neat. We didn't get a release date. We also don't know if it's going to be localized.
Yep.
I mean, you know, the DS one was, so like maybe this will too. But yeah, it's interesting to see these kind of under the radar, you know, franchises coming back. I have heard of it, and like I'm familiar with it. I never played it when it came out, but I'm like familiar with it, and it's a cool announcement all the same. The more DS like properties that can come forward to the Switch, the better for me. The more the merrier. Bring them on.
Oh yeah.
We got another. So the last thing I really wanted to hit here at the TGS, they do like the annual Tokyo Game Show Awards ceremony.
Yep.
And we got a little Nintendo representation there too. This is a bit of a weird one. The Famicom, like the console, won the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry Award this year. Takashi Tezuka was there to accept the award for the system, because the system can't accept the award. It's a system.
I mean, it was at home. It's old.
Yeah.
It was just sitting at home.
Yeah, it's okay, Grandpa. We'll get you your award.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a weird one, because like typically this award is given to people.
Yeah.
Miyazaki from FromSoft got it last year, I guess, and this year it was the Famicom. Why not? I mean, it deserves it, I guess.
It certainly does. At this point, it's a hallmark of the country's economy and exports. It's led to one of the biggest entertainment companies on the planet. So the Famicom does deserve a few awards, a few recognitions, and but this one was kind of weird, especially since it's typically given to a sentient being and not necessarily a computer. So maybe we're setting a bad precedent by giving computer consoles awards and treating them more like people. It seems like the offshoot of the uprising to me. So
it started here at Tokyo Game Show 2023.
Exactly. Next, we're gonna have T1000s running around.
Yeah. So congratulations to the Famicom, the
Yes.
the 2023 Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry. So Shout outs to you. In addition to that, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak took home the quote grand award for game of the year, end quote, which I honestly just think that like game of the year is not enough. We have to call it the grand award for game of the year. And if you're wondering, like, hey, wait a minute, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak didn't come out this year. Well, it's because TGS awards cover games released from April 2022 to March 2023 for reasons. So
Sure. I mean, Sunbreak was awesome. You and I had
great.
a ton of fun with it. We went around on a bunch of hunts. Elgato was great. The new areas were a ton of fun. The new monsters were awesome. They supported the heck out of that game.
Great game.
Yeah, great game. Fair enough. Grand award game winner of the year extraordinaire Esquire.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak.
Congratulations. Just one more, flower in the bouquet for that game, I suppose. But that's what I got. I've been trying to keep up with TGS 2023. Just not a whole lot of big Switch related headlines this year. But again, if anything happens over the weekend, we'll update y'all next week on the show. We got a fun little story though next year that I was so delighted by this. Anytime we can preserve like lost media, I think it's really cool and special. But this promotional Pokemon browser based like tie-in game to the Pokemon movie 2000 was recovered and preserved. It's available on like the Wayback Archive already, all of the assets, the browser that it needs to run in, and Pokemon The Movie 2000 Adventure now properly preserved.
But this was such a cool story as well. This was done by Did You Know Gaming. Did You Know Gaming did a video previously on preserving Pokemon games. They spoke about a Pokemon Garden game, and the developer of this browser-based game, this Pokemon 2000 browser-based game, after having seen that, actually reached out to Did You Know Gaming and said, hey, look at this cool thing that we did back in the day. And sure enough, it was, like Seth said, a browser-based first-person exploration Pokemon-style game that was released. It was commissioned and created by Warner Brothers to be a piece of promotional material for Pokemon The Movie 2000. And you jump in, there's a message from Professor Oak. Apparently you can choose one of 3 different Pokemon teams. You can actually travel to the 3 different islands from the movies, and they say it's about 10 minutes to complete the game, but a web browser based game, cool, whatever. But it was really cool because you had these 3D environments, but you had all the Pokemon rendered with 2D sprites. So the developers kind of likened it to Doom in that way.
Yep.
But the interesting thing was apparently creating an actual video game. I guess it was too much. I guess it took the contract between Warner Brothers, Nintendo, Pokemon. I guess it went beyond their agreement.
Yeah.
And Nintendo actually sent a cease and desist order to the company that they were that was publishing and distributing the movie, because it was, I guess, too much like a video game. Really, really interesting story. I highly recommend checking out the video. But if you want to play the full version of the browser-based game for yourself, Did You Know Gaming has the files, and like they've made it very easy, but it's completely preserved, not just the game, but like creation assets too, which is really cool. So concept art and design documents and stuff like that. Digital clips. I mean, there's your next Gold Master series.
Gold Master Pokemon 2000 Adventure.
I'd buy it.
I'd love to see it. No, it'll never happen, but I would love to see it. But yeah, like it was an interesting sort of story because like, Nintendo put the kibosh on it, not because like they knew what it was, like they signed off on what it was. It was because it was successful. He was like, we ended up having like 1 million players within the first month, and Nintendo was like, hang on now, we didn't think this was gonna be this big. We can't have that. You're not making like an official like Pokemon. You're making a Pokemon thing, and that's all fine, but it was just supposed to be a stupid little browser game, you know. So
They
it is kind of
postulated that
funny.
Nintendo did it because they're like, well, we don't want people to think this is what Pokemon is
Right.
now, what Pokemon games are now. So, brand confusion was the term they used in the
Right.
video, but it is still really cool as a piece of video, as an interactive piece at that, a piece of video game history. Very
Yeah.
glad that the developer had the foresight to keep all those files, and big win for preservation this week. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that. It's a fun little story, and yeah, I kind of want to download it and try to play
I
it
do too.
myself. Yeah. It's
I
it's a
do
little
too. It's
annoying
short.
cuz it is short. It's a little annoying because you have to do a couple of little like tricks and workarounds to get the browser to
Mhm.
work, because this I think they were called like Cyber Power or something, or Cyber World or something like that.
I think it was Cyber World. Yeah.
Yeah, they made like their own sort of like browser source that they use, and like, so Wayback Archive has their own server that they're running so that you can get that browser source and use it to run the game in. So there are a couple of little things you have to do, but I kind of want to like jump through the hoops just to play it and just to see.
Ah, technology.
So yeah, but anyways, that's a fun little story. We also got kind of announced out of nowhere this week, to be honest, which I guess these things typically are. A new announcement from Lego, their next Super Mario collaboration. It's a Piranha Plant, kind of in the same vein as the Mighty Bowser set that we got, although
Yeah.
much smaller,
Yeah. Much
obviously.
smaller in scale,
Um,
obviously. But
yes,
in terms of Lego sets, in terms of implements from the Super Mario Brothers universe to really go in on with its own detailed set, its own somewhat premium Lego set, a Piranha Plant does seem like an interesting choice. But admittedly, it looks really good. It
looks
looks
cool.
really cool. I kind of want like my own little mini garden, like Peach's like little Piranha Plant bouquet.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want one of those now. I mean, if I wanted a full bouquet, that would set me back a little bit of money, because even just this, what looks to be based on the images that we saw in terms of relation to the people that we saw, it looks to be about 6 to 8 inches
Yeah, I would say
built.
that's right.
So it would set me back a little bit of money. I think it's 59.99
It
for the
is.
set. It does look really cool though. I dig it quite a bit.
I mean, hey, it's a better, like that Bowser set's like $300.
Dude,
So,
yeah.
I
That
mean,
thing's massive though.
for Legos are always kind of expensive, but so I
Yeah.
mean, this is at least a little affordable, I guess. But it's coming November 6th. I don't know if this is the kind of like, I think it looks cool, but like I'm not as, I guess, chomping at the bit for something like this, if you'll pardon the Piranha Plant pun.
Hmm.
I'm not necessarily hungry for it, I guess, but it looks cool. It looks cool. I'm ultimately just glad they continue to do these,
Yeah.
because they're obviously very successful and people like them and I like them. So
What is the number one Lego Mario Seth wish list item?
um I don't know. I don't guess I've really
Because you
put
do
too
have a lot
much.
of the Lego Mario stuff.
I wouldn't say I have a lot. I get like the
Well,
typically
you got
what I
like the little
do.
mini, the
Yeah, I'll
the
get the
like
base
the
sets.
blind back, or the
I do
blind boxes, right?
I do have some of the blind bags, but I mean, like, I probably have like maybe 5% of what's available. I mean, I don't have very much at all. I got the Luigi set, I got the Mario set. I still don't have Peach or Donkey Kong, actually. So I mean, I have a couple of like the minifig sets that you just kind of pay $60 for, and I did buy some of the blind bags, but I haven't gone like too hard in the paint. Um, I guess, like, thinking about it, I mean, I would like to see them do kind of themed sets specifically around things like Super Mario Brothers 2 or 3 would be
Okay.
cool. I would like to see kind of more theme sets like that. A Mario Galaxy set would be great.
Oh,
A
dude, the
Sunshine
observatory.
set.
Oh.
Yeah, like a Sunshine set to have like an actual flood that you can put on him, and there's stuff there. I mean, there's a million things that they could
Yeah.
continue to do with this. So
Almost 40 years worth of Mario history to draw from.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that would be really cool to see. But we also got a little NSO Thursday news this week.
yeah.
Always good to have an NSO Thursday. Drop the announcement of Kirby and the Amazing Mirror
Yeah.
making its way to the GBA NSO app next week on the 29th.
Yeah. Surprised me a little bit because they typically announce this stuff at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
So I've gotten in the habit of, kind of checking things and seeing if anything drops. And Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, okay, nothing. Couple Splatoon icons, okay, whatever. But an hour later, yeah, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is dropping next week on September 29th, 4-player online co-op. Let's go! Because we don't have enough Kirby games on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's cool because this one had, it's got like co-op and stuff, so you can play it
Yeah,
online. So you can
yeah,
do like 4-player online co-op, which is neat.
we're totally going to do that.
Yeah, I would like to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. Although it is funny because I remember playing this one when it came out and liking it, but I
Mhm.
was like a teenager and I didn't really have like deep critical
Taste.
thoughts about video games yet. Yeah. So like it was funny to hear like people coming in being like, this game sucks. This is the worst Kirby game. So like weirdly it makes me want to try it even more because I kind of want to see where I fall on it now.
It's
You
like,
know?
was I just wrong all those years? Is it rose tinted glasses? But
Yeah.
again, 4-player online co op, especially when it comes to the Game Boy Advance, I'm I'm happy they put 4-player co op in there, but that was a heck of a decision to make for a Game Boy Advance. I can't imagine how often that function was used in the real
Yeah.
world. So the fact that we're much more readily able to do it now is really cool. And again, just 4-player online co-op Kirby, cool.
It
I'm down.
sounds good to me. Apparently the game, I don't even remember like again, like I have zero memory. I know I played it. I remember things about it, but like I didn't remember that it was like a Metroidvania sort of setup. So I don't know. I'm really interested to play this one. And it makes me hope because like now that we have like GBA 4-player co-op, I really hope we get like Four Swords Adventure on
That'd
this
be nice.
thing. That'd be so cool. I would love to see that. So anyways, yes, new NSO drop coming next week. Hopefully we'll be able to play a little bit of co-op. I
Yeah.
know Matt's wanting to play too, so maybe we can get
Mhm.
a co-op game going. That'll be fun.
Heck yeah. And
Um,
not to sound like too smarmy, but of the 2D Kirby platformers that have been released on Nintendo Switch this year, if you told me this one was going to be the one with 4-player online co-op,
that's fair.
I'd be I'd be surprised. Just
Yeah.
again, not to be too smarmy, I just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we do have a little bit of sad news as well this week. Unfortunately, Saber Interactive and Boss Games confirmed in a statement this week that in addition to canceling plans for continued support of their game Evil Dead, the game, the previously announced Switch version of the game is also unfortunately canceled. They did, I think it was at the
Ungroovy.
yeah, I think it was at the Game Awards last year. I think they announced the Switch version or something,
Yeah.
and yeah, unfortunately, that's being canceled, and then continued support for the game's being canceled as well. So, yeah, ungroovy indeed.
Ungroovy. I've been a fan of Evil Dead. I mean, how do you not love Bruce Campbell?
Oh
I
yeah,
love the Evil Dead TV series. I think it was on Max or some or cinema or something for a while, but I really, really like the Evil Dead TV series. It was a ton of fun, and I was looking forward to checking this one out, to wielding the boomstick chainsaw handed anti-hero himself. But say la vie, no more. And a, a a bomb to throw on us right before spooky season when this would have been perfect.
yeah, ungroovy, unhail to the king. I guess. I mean, all these things we could say.
Yeah, all the references, but unfortunately, if that was a game that you were looking forward to on the Nintendo Switch, we apologize for breaking the bad news.
Yeah, womp womp. Well, cute little story here that I wanted to flag. From October 7th through to the end of the year, Nintendo is partnering with the Seattle Aquarium for an Animal Crossing New Horizons themed aquarium experience. This comes from their press release. They say that guests can, quote, partake in photo opportunities with some key characters from the game, enjoy the sultry tones of Blathers as he provides creature descriptions, view a number of character standees throughout the aquarium, and take part in a scavenger hunt, end quote. The sultry tones of Blathers was a very
Are they serving like an Animal Crossing themed blend of coffee during this promotion?
well, not Brewster, Blathers, but
Or
like
yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
You're right. You're right. Yeah, sorry.
Blathers is like the
I,
bug
I mixed the
owl.
birds up. They both work
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
museum, so
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Brewster, Blathers, yes, the owl that you're always giving the fossils to. Yes, yes, yes. I
Either
apologize.
way,
I mixed my birds
not
up.
either one of them has
Not
sultry
sultry.
tones. What are y'all talking about, dude? And it makes me wonder too, because like I'm just gonna be fascinated to see what this even is. Like this seems like it's probably just a fun little distraction for your kids when you're taking them to the aquarium.
I'm sure.
But like they're talking about photo ops with key characters from the game, so is this implying that people are like mascots, are gonna
Well,
be
they
there,
said
I guess?
standees, right?
Standees as well, yeah, but like
Yeah, so I that's what I imagine it's
yeah,
going to
maybe
be. This,
both.
yeah.
Yeah.
The characters are probably like you'll probably have an Isabel, a Tom Nook, maybe a Blathers, since they're going to have his voice there. You might as well have a standee of Blathers. I don't think this is going to be necessarily as in depth as Nintendo's recent road trip leading up to Nintendo Live. But I mean, the Seattle Aquarium is fairly prominent. It wouldn't completely surprise me if they turn this into a big thing. Like you said, it's lasting from the beginning of October through the end of the year. They've even got like a little scavenger hunt thing going on because in the museum in Animal Crossing New Horizons, they occasionally do like stamp based scavenger hunts and stuff like
Yeah, you can do
that.
the stamp rally thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stamp rally. So, like, my biggest question about this is how did this come about? Because we're already well beyond the game's final major update. Like, cool. I'm glad that they're doing it. It just seems like a promotion that maybe should have happened like a couple of years ago. I understand COVID and people traveling and stuff like that, but we've been back around the world for a while now. It seems like a really late in its lifespan promotion with Animal Crossing. I mean, it's still selling halfway decent, but you never see it really in the media anymore outside from weird stuff like this. There was a while there during the game's peak where it felt like we had a weird Animal Crossing story every week. Joe Biden using it for his campaign and the Mayonnaise Island and all this kind of weird stuff. But then, here more than a year after the 2.0 update, after Happy Island Home or
Happy Home
Paradise,
Paradise.
Happy Home
Yeah.
Paradise, those three words, like it just feels like a word generator. So I always mix them up. Thank you. But cool that it's happening, but it just seems like a really late promotion.
Yeah, like I mean I can understand
Yeah,
having it out there for the holiday, especially since they have the Animal Crossing Switch lights on shelves this
yeah,
holiday. Like this is going to be the kind of thing I think what they want to happen is they want you to take your kids to the Seattle Aquarium and be like, "Oh, I want to play this game." And then hey, turns out from literally the same day this begins, like theoretically, a parent could take their kids to the Seattle Aquarium. Their kid could become obsessed with Animal Crossing, and then they could hop over to Target and buy the Switch Lite.
yeah.
So I think that's what their sort of angle is here, but at the same time it seems like a strange bit of timing for like, peak time for an aquarium is the summer. Like, and peak time for Animal Crossing is this summer. Like the kids are out of school and stuff. I mean, this is school year's kicked off. It just seems a little odd in that regard. I think specifically they did just want to time it to that Switch Lite, but
I
you
can see
know,
that. But I mean, the kids come in. Oh, that's a cool fish. What's that? It's called a stingray. Oh, I want to take one home. Well, you can't, but you can catch one in this game.
yeah, it totally, yeah. So I think that's what their angle is here. I think that's kind of
Yeah,
what what they're trying to capture there.
that's what I figured.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so it's interesting. I'll be curious to see like the scope of that. I'll be looking forward to like pictures and videos that I'm sure Nintendo will share
yeah.
from the aquarium once it starts.
Well, I
So
know you're very well versed with Seattle, so
I mean, I love Seattle, but I would like to see the scope of that. But yes, that is coming October 7th through to the end of the year. But let's talk about what's going on this week, Eric. I mean, we're obviously it's post Nintendo Direct week, always a little quiet in
a
terms of
little.
releases, but we do have a few things.
A couple. I do want to shout out here, September 22nd, the day we're recording this. The physical version of Pikmin 1 and 2
That's
is out.
true. Yep, that's true.
So the physical version. So if you were waiting on that after Nintendo Shadow dropped those two games earlier this year, if you're waiting on the physical version, that is now available to you. And just quick shout out, we don't talk a lot about LRG because they're constantly releasing new pre-orders, and it'd be, we'd be beating a dead horse. But I do want to shout out two quick things.
Okay.
One, I told you this before we started recording, the Jurassic Park collection, the fact that they got those Sega Genesis games that's really cool. That's really cool. But the actual thing that I wanted to shout out was, after what felt like 16 years of promises, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is finally available for pre-order.
It is.
I genuinely never thought that would happen. I just thought it was a running gag from LRG, but no, for realsies, apparently it's actually up for pre-order now. So fair play to LRG.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're doing it. Shout outs to them. They're doing the thing. I mean, yeah, I know
enough.
there was a time that a lot of people were not convinced that it was ever going to happen, but they're doing it.
Yeah, they showed it off like 3 years in a row at
Yeah,
LRG 3, and again, I thought it was a running gag at this point, but no, for realsies, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is up for pre-order now from LRG, so fair play to them.
nice.
But let's go into like some actual proper new releases from this week, because one of them is absolutely ugly.
One of them is absolutely ugly. It's I want to play this. I've had this sort of on my radar for a little while now. It is, you know what it reminds me a lot of is Horus. It's
Okay,
a
okay,
sort
okay.
of side-scrolling platformer Metroidvania sort of thing where you play as this, I guess ugly character, but
The
it's
game
like
is
a
literally called Ugly,
yeah, the
by the
game is
way.
called Ugly. Yeah. And you play as this character, sort of this hand-drawn aesthetic, but he's going throughout like all of these different worlds, like this like puzzle is like sort of mirrored puzzle solving that
Hmm.
they have going on. But like the interesting thing about this game is just the like variety of like different art styles that is showcased. Just watching the trailer and watching gameplay, like some of the different characters and the way they're rendered, it's really striking. Just like the like it seems like again kind of like Horus, like the kind of thing where it's just going to be throwing new stuff at you constantly. So I don't know,
Would
I'm
you
really
like maybe a
intrigued.
WarioWare style vibe, or is that a bad comparison?
It's like WarioWare is like a little more um
Extreme.
yeah, like eclectic. Like WarioWare is kind of more like this, at least feels like it's part of like a larger, I guess, thing, like where you're having, I don't know, like I was getting almost like, this is such a weird compare. I know you'll appreciate this comparison, but
Hmm.
99% of the people listening to this will not. But it like it almost reminds me of like a page master sort of thing.
Oh wow.
Like
Okay, understood. Got it. Got it.
like
Got it. Yeah,
every genre has its
I love
own.
Page
I do
Master.
too. Yeah, and like but every genre has its own sort of like style and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was getting a little bit of that. Check out the
Okay.
trailer. It looks interesting.
Yeah. Page
So,
Master is an old live action slash animated movie from the early 90s featuring Macaulay Culkin, where he
yeah.
gets lost in a library and gets sucked into the literal world of books and goes through several different book themed worlds. That's
Yeah.
actually a remaster, an HD remaster I would genuinely
I would
buy
too.
on the Nintendo Switch, is Page Master, the old Genesis and Super Nintendo game. Make that happen, LRG. Carbon Engine, get it done.
I'd
But
play it.
yeah, just the reference to Page Master means I'm probably going to download this tonight. But that's not it. A game that I was interested in, and all of a sudden, here it is. Gloomhaven came out this week.
Yeah, it did. Gloomhaven, which is a sort of console version of the board game that a lot of people really love. I haven't looked too deeply into this. It I think is kind of following. We've seen a lot of board games come over. The biggest one I think is probably Wingspan.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
like that Cats of Calico I think is coming over from those same developers, but this sort of concept of like digital board games is the kind of thing that we've seen a few times now on the Nintendo Switch. So again, I haven't done research on this. I don't know when I would get around to this. I know that Andros and Micah, the Nintendo pals, really love this game.
Hmm.
And they actually did draft it for Fantasy League. Now, unfortunately, it did not get enough reviews to earn a open critic score, so they didn't get points for it, but they did draft it. So
Well, I'd like to check it out too. But weirdly enough, the other big game that came out this week that I'm really interested in. I was very interested to see how well it reviewed, and it as well does not currently have enough reviews on OpenCritic or Metacritic to get an aggregate score yet, and that is the brand new Avatar game.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like it looks kind of cool. Looks like you go through functionally the entire saga of the original Avatar show with Aang and Katara, Sokka, and I was kind of interested to see if it was at least playable. I saw a couple people liken it to Lego Star Wars, which like I'd be perfectly happy to play a game like Lego Star Wars. It doesn't need to be super deep. It doesn't need to have the polish of something like an Elden Ring or a Star, but if it's just stupid fun and it puts me back in the mindset of watching the original show, that'd be all I need really. I'm not looking for an immaculate adventure. I'm just looking for something fun that puts me back in the headspace I was at when I watched one of my favorite animated shows of all time. So I'll keep looking into this, and if I wind up picking it up, maybe I'll do a little video on it to show it off.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't have a ton of faith in this, to be honest with you, but
I mean, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
mean, there are few properties that deserve a great video game more than Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ain't
So,
that the truth?
so yeah.
The Platinum Games Legend of Korra game that came out I thought that was okay. That was a
Yeah.
downloadable only game, wasn't a full retail release, but that was okay. I enjoyed that one.
That was fun with
And
it.
they're keeping Aang and Sora and the team alive in Nick All-Star Brawl at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I think that's it. I think we hit it all. I think that's all the notable releases, right?
Yeah, ton of interesting stuff going on this week. The Unity stuff, the Pokemon 2000. Go ahead and check out that web browser based game, and whatever you guys are up to this weekend, let us know. Whatever you're playing, whatever you're doing. Are you headed to Seattle to check out that aquarium stuff? Well, it's not starting this weekend; starts in October. But are you going in October?
Booking your
to check out
tickets.
Seattle.
Go to the aquarium.
Are you getting your vacation planned? Let us know. Reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter at All In Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us right here on youtube.com/All In Podcast, especially if you're right here in the live chat listening and watching to us right now. Go ahead, hit the bell, notifications, all that jazz. Also, make sure to follow our amazing Discord. We have such a phenomenal Discord community. Shout out to Bowza. You have those wonderful words that you put in yesterday. Thank you so much.
Bowza's in the chat. Big shout outs to
Thank you so
Bowza.
much for that. That made me so happy. So we have a phenomenal Discord community. We'd love for you to come in and be a part of that. We're always doing new stuff and inspiring, new content and videos and podcasts and everything. And yet somehow, Seth, some way, we still find time to make exclusive content for those legendary patrons who shouted out.
We sure do. Patreon.com/allinpodcast. Exclusive content going up there every single week. 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana tier so you can see for yourself what we got going on over there. And of course, another great way to throw a few bones our way for our hard work is picking up some merch at bit.ly/allinmerch. I mentioned that earlier. And again, for free, if you don't have any bones to throw our way, a really quick, easy, free way to support us is to, do the things like subscribe on YouTube, leave us a comment, drop us some words on a podcast service. If you listen to this on your audio feed, 5-star reviews really, really help, and it's very free and easy. We appreciate it. Thank you.
We really, really do. To everybody who has helped us along our journey to absolute Nintendo content creation dominance, to all of you legendary patrons out there, to everybody who, hangs out with us in these live video news breakdowns, to everybody who has shared our content across the internet, to everybody who has dropped words on whatever podcasting service you listen to us on, and to everybody who has picked up a piece of our merch at bit.ly/allinmerch. Like, you guys are amazing, honestly, from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you all so much. You all deserve namaste.
Namaste, everybody. That's been the weekend news. We really appreciate you for hanging out. Chloe G and Bowza were in the chat tonight. Big thanks to you guys for coming through. Always good to see you. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. On tomorrow's episode of All In, a Nintendo podcast, if you're watching this either live or on the VOD, you might not know, we do a weekly Nintendo podcast called All In, a Nintendo podcast. Links to that are in the video description. It posts every single Saturday. And it's a variety show. So like this week we're doing first of all Eric's big review of Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, which, you know, is interesting. So tune into that. You're going to want to hear that.
I definitely recommend tuning in to listen to that. I do. It's
Yeah.
going to be a fun one, folks.
Yeah.
Not maybe
Yeah.
in the way I was hoping, but we'll let you find out for yourselves.
We got that. We're doing the top 5. We do a top 5 every week. The top 5 most unique weapons in Nintendo history, and we're doing an
That
indie
was fun.
showcase on Gumbrella, which is one of my favorite games of the year. And so we're just kind of have this like violent theme
Yeah.
weirdly with our show tomorrow. So
So we, a variety show tomorrow specifically. We just have a variety of violence.
that's right.
So hope
We'll
you
see you
tune
there.
in, check it out. It's going to be a ton of fun. Great episode as always. But again, every Saturday, a brand new episode of All In a Nintendo podcast drops in yo feeds.
That's right. So we will see you there, and we will see you back here next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Great weekend.